The task of meeting diverse needs and wants led to the idea of market segmentation. Instead of trying to meet everyone's needs and wants with a single product or service, marketers divide the large, heterogeneous market for a good or service into smaller but more homogeneous market segments. A heterogeneous market is one composed of people having differing characteristics and needs, whereas a homogeneous market is one with people of similar characteristics and needs.
Question 2. Why do we segment the tourism business? The answer is to focus marketing efforts by segmenting potential customers into groups with fairly similar wants and needs. Revenue management at MGN Brand said, the finer we can get segment our market, the better we can target and get the right product in front of the right customer in the right channel at the right price. As an example, a lodging company decided to make a perfect hotel that will give more profit to them. Do you think it will satisfy all the guests? The answer is no. Some guests preferred a clean and comfortable for their night, which is inexpensive for their budget. But some guests preferred to be pampered. A lot of room service, a lot of room type, and have gym, spa, and restaurant for them to change their mood and get some vacation or holiday.
Next, we move on to question 3, which is identify and provide examples of the common approaches to segmenting the tourism market. In general, there are 4 common approaches when it comes to segmenting the tourism market, which are through geographic segmentation, demographic segmentation, psychographic segmentation, and the last one, which is product-related segmentation. Let's first start off with geographic segmentation. Geographic segmentation is basically the grouping of potential tourism customers based on their geographical location. Even though tourists from this specific segment do not necessarily have similarities in their wants or needs, but what stays similar is their selection of tourism goods and services too. Some common examples of geographic segmentation variables include nation, regions, neighborhoods, and such. There are many tourist attractions that market their services regionally because they realize that the time and money used in traveling makes them more attractive to customers in a specific geographic area. For example, the Walt Disney Company promotes different locations of Disneyland to different consumers based on the region. For Disneyland California, the Walt Disney Company markets heavily in the western part of the United States and also the Pacific Rim countries. However, it markets Walt Disney World, which is located in Florida, more heavily in the eastern part of the United States and also Europe. Next, we move on to demographic segmentation. This kind of segmentation is known to be the most commonly used segmentation in any marketing segmentation. In demographic segmentation, consumers are grouped according to variables which define them in an objective and measurable way. These variables include gender, age, occupation, ethnicity, education, income, and many more. Demographics are commonly used by this industry because the basic information, such as the variables that have been mentioned, are often collected routinely, and this information is also widely available. Some of the examples of this include tour operators or cruise lines who use demographic segmentation when they want to create special tours or cruises which include educational, religious, or nostalgic experiences. Next is psychographic segmentation. Psychographic segmentation is basically grouping people on how they live, their priorities, and their interests. In general, psychographic was developed by marketing researchers who tried to link personality to brand usage or a product. At the start, these researchers relied on the standard psychological personality measurement, which they then added concepts such as the measurement of activities, interests, and opinions, otherwise known as the AIO. Activities is how people like to spend their time. Interest is what they consider important, while opinions is what they think of themselves or the world around them. Psychographic segmentation can also be known as lifestyle segmentation, whereby lifestyle can generally be defined by the concepts of activities, interests, and opinions. the AIO. For example, if people work, their interest would be their family and their opinion is solely about themselves. While people who are grouped based on vacation, their interests would be communities, the situation of their travel, and their opinions would be on the businesses around them. Cruise ships and resorts have also opted to this segmentation, whereby they target individuals with similar hobbies, musical interests, or even sport preferences. In the context of the American travel market, research has been done which identified three large segments termed as the family getaway travelers, adventurous and education traveler, and also the travelers who are considered romantics. Last but not least is the product-related segmentation. While the segmentation, such as geographic, demographic, psychographic, are helpful in moving marketers closer to product improvement and development, these segmentations are only based on indirectly grouping people based on assumptions. At times, assumptions are not safe, so marketers try to group potential buyers directly from what people indicate they need or want in a product or even services. Some of the variables of this segmentation include the benefits that people seek in goods or services, the amount of good or service used, or even the degree of loyalty that the consumer shows in compliance to participation in frequent user programs. A good example of this segmentation include groupings of business tourists against leisure tourism. Based on which type of tourism a consumer belongs to, suppliers are able to identify what kind of benefits a consumer wants based on the purposes of their trips. In detail, we look at the example of the typical businessman on a business trip. The businessman would want to have an easy check-in at the airport and also in his hotel rooms. The hotel rooms must also be equipped with the latest type of technology. And it is this kind of attention to detail on this segmentation that allows a business to flourish. Question number 4 is, why are business travelers so important to the tourism industry? Business travelers are important to the tourism industry because they often need to travel as a part of their day-to-day activities, thus making them the backbone of tourism industry. Since they are required to travel often, they are not as price sensitive to most things such as vacation or leisure tourists would be. The demand for business travelers can be considered as fairly inelastic. What we mean by inelastic is when the demand does not change significantly with price fluctuations, while if the demand changes significantly as the price fluctuations, then only is it referred to elastic. For example, flight tickets which are booked furthest in advance is the cheapest compared to the ones that have to be urgently booked. Since business travelers have to travel on a short notice, a fairly expensive price of a ticket does not affect them, thus exemplifying an inelastic demand. The fact that the business travelers are not price sensitive to many other things definitely increases the profit margin of the tourism industry, thus highlighting the importance of business travelers to the tourism industry. Moreover, business travelers will be more demanding of tourism services, since they have come to expect at a minimum the current level of services and benefits as a standard level of performance. Professional travelers, on the other hand, is similar to business travel, whereby this kind of travel is built around meetings or convention markets. As both business and professional travel increase, more facilities or services supplied by the tourism industry also grow in order to meet the demand of these certain travelers, thus also increasing the profit of the tourism industry, again highlighting the importance of business travelers. An example of a company that caters to the needs of business travelers is Marriott International, whereby they have designed 3 distinct types of accommodations specifically for these kinds of travelers. The first being the luxury hotels, such as the Ritz-Carlton or the Edition hotels. The second being hotels which target business travelers who want an array of facilities and also services, such as room service and secretarial support, such as the Autograph Collection and JW Marriott. As for the third type, It is hotels with limited service, such as the Courtyard and Residence Inn, both by Marriott.
Question 5 is, how do Smurf groups complement the business travel market? What is Smurf? Smurf describes the 5 small group meeting market segments, which stands for social, military, education, religious, and fraternal. It is a large market in terms of potential revenue, and it is for the sales of banqueting rooms and meeting facilities. They tend to hold events on weekends that create traffic when business travel volume is low. In other words, they are not limited by special occasions such as Chinese New Year or Christmas. Therefore, they are a big source of income for businesses during slow months. Besides that, they are also not price sensitive, which means that they would be willing to pay high prices even when there are no discounts. Its size, growth, and need for personalized services is important to tourism service providers such as travel agents, tour operators, cruise lines, hotels, and resorts. However, this group poses some unique marketing challenges in identifying specific groups and in creating service offerings that cater to specific needs. This is because Smurf groups are typically run by volunteers, such as small or big social gatherings. Some of the hardest groups to identify and locate is vacation clubs and reunions and girlfriend get-togethers. On the other hand, there are also target groups that can ensure a more stable occupancy rate year-round, such as weddings, civic professional organizations, charity events, holiday celebrations, and interest groups. Question number 6. Why are mature travelers so important to the future tourism industry? So there are a few reasons for that. Number 1, they are the fastest growing segment of the travel market. Why? People are growing old every day, that's why. Number 2, they have the time and desire to travel. Most mature travelers are groups of people who are aged 65 and over, which means that they are most probably retirees. Therefore, they don't have a job, so they would have extra time to go and travel around the world after working for so long and so many years, so they would go and travel. Number 3, they have the wealth and disposable income needed for travel. Well, as I said, they are retirees, therefore they would have pension money or even some savings of their own. Besides that, their children, who are most probably working already, would probably give them some extra pocket money as well, which means that they would have extra money to go traveling. So number 4, they actively seek the services of travel professionals. Well, older people, when they go to some place, even younger generations, when they go to some place that they're not familiar with, they would ask people for help. It's just that mature travelers, they might not know how to use the phone apps properly, such as Google Maps and Google searching for places that have the best crib or something. Anyway, most mature travelers can be categorized under 3 segments. The first segment is sightseers. These type of mature travelers, they prefer package tours to cities with a wide variety of urban attractions. They do not like surprises nor party scenes, and they are very concerned about their safety. In other words, they're traveling for the view and the scenery. The second group is enthusiastic participators. These mature travelers tend to be younger and better educated seniors who seek adventure and new experiences. They enjoy exploring on their own, then they also like to connect with the locals, which also means that they just like having fun. And the last segment is family-focused mature travelers. These mature travelers, they prefer traveling for family time and interactions, and they tend to be less affluent and less educated than the other 2 segments. They travel just to meet their families and just spend time together instead of looking around the cities and whatnot. Here are some other importance of mature travelers. The U.S. Census Bureau estimates that the number of senior citizens aged 65 and over in the year 2040 will be 14% of the whole world population. People are aging and will continue to grow in numbers, so this segment will grow 7 times faster than all other segments. The mature travelers segment is especially important because they spend 30% more than younger travelers and account for 80% of all commercial vacation travels. Mature travelers are increasingly traveling with their families, using vacations as a time for family togetherness. They tend to take vacation to destinations that offer a wide variety of activities so that everyone, no matter their age, could have fun. For example, they would go to Las Vegas, Hawaii, and cruises. It's also undeniable that as time goes by, and we're all getting more and more modern, so even by the time we get old, we're still considered modern to ourselves, and therefore we would like to travel around, unlike people from the olden days who just like staying home and doing the same thing over and over again. But people nowadays, more modern age people, they like to travel around and have fun because it's all about living your life.
Question 7. Why are special interest travelers becoming more important to tourist service suppliers? So first of all, what are special interest tourism? It's a tourism that initiated for specific reasons or interests. A person from this group might say that it's not about where they want to go, it's about the experience they want to experience and where can they get it. For example, in ecotourism, a person who wants to experience hot springs might look into the local hot springs resorts in their area. In culture, a person who wants to know in depth about the Korean culture might look into the culture tour packages offered in Korea. And in sports, sports enthusiasts might travel to see their favorite sports team perform in a tournament. So, what are the importance of SIT to tourist service suppliers? First of all, these traveler groups are more likely to hire guides, travel agents, and specialty tour operators because this group they highly value education and skill enhancements in their trips, so they want to learn from the experts, and they also have a general preference to very specific itineraries for their trips. This group also are more likely to spend above average amounts for their trips, and they often travel during shoulders and off-season periods, providing revenues to businesses when they need it the most. There's also a rising interest in SIT, as according to Future Market Insights, that this market will register exponential growth between 2020 to 2030. And this is due to the higher interest in personalized travel experience and also the rising popularities in tours, especially in adventurous and environmental tours, and also there's also a growing population of financially stronger, healthier, and better educated baby boomers who are in general are seeking novel experiences. Question 8. Why are incentive travelers are so important to the future of the tourism industries? So first of all, what are incentive travels? It is a reward trip that is given to employees or special on-time clients by a company in recognition for their achievements or relationship. For example, like completing a difficult project, reaching a sales target of a year, or have served in the company for 3 decades. Incentive travels are usually structured as an exclusive pleasure trips with special activities that are meant to create a party atmosphere and celebratory to the travelers, such as a 5-day vacation at a high-class cruise ship, or a full-paid vacation package at a famous 5-star resorts. Incentive travels are meant to motivate high-performing employees to increase their productivity and also to increase loyalty to the company. And if it's given to the clients, it's meant to honor customer loyalty. So why are incentive travels important? So first of all, customers are likely to continue the partnership if the trips are well planned and effective. So this provides opportunity for businesses to gain customer loyalty from large organizations if their trips are well planned and effective in a way that it makes the employees work harder to gain it again, so which are very beneficial for the organizations. Secondly, organizations are also more likely to spend above average amounts for top services included in the trips, which provide good avenues for businesses. And according to IRF Incentive Research Foundation 2014, 80% of large companies are more likely to use group incentives trips. So we see here that there's a rising interest for implementation of incentive trips in companies for their employees, which means that there will be a good opportunity and rising demand that tourism businesses could take on and provide these trips to organizations. Lastly, incentive travels will promote cooperation among organizations, travel and hospital services in the industries as they try to tailor the most effective incentive trips for their employees to increase their productivity in the company. Thank you.